name and where you work.
My name is Emma Katagi, and I work for API Safety Center. It's an non-profit organization that provides services to the victim of domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking.
Are there a certain group of people you work with or you try to help in particularly?
Well, we focus on Asian and Pacific Islander, but we don't turn down anybody. So I think a lot of times, because of our community, we have the language capability. So those are our priorities, limited non-English speaking.
What do you do personally there?
I'm the program manager. I'm also one of the founding mothers. So I do a lot, basically. Almost everything. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
You go ahead if you need to. I'll stop.
No, it's okay.
Okay. What is your goal, I guess, of the organization or your goal as someone who works there? What are your personal goals or what do you wish to accomplish?
Well, I think for me, as a survivor of domestic violence, I think helping victim of domestic violence to get out of the situation and become self-sufficient and move forward, I think is sort of our goal. We want to make sure that the victims can get out of the situation and can focus on their own life and be violence-free.
How would someone who needs help or might be a victim of domestic violence, how do they get a hold of you guys, or how would someone who wants to volunteer and you're taking volunteers at the time, how would they get a hold of you?
They can either call us or they can email us, and we have a website also, and it's www.apiwfsc.org. And it would be really good also if we could find volunteers that is bilingual, because oftentimes we have other language in the API community that we don't have. And when I say API, Asian and Pacific Islander, sometimes we get called from Marshallese, Tongans, Fijian, and we only have Samoan so far that we have an advocate. So.
You mentioned so many different cultures, and I guess that raises a question. Do you see that in all the different cultures, and I guess the roles of women in cultures are different, from this island might be different, do you think that leads to some of, not the problems, but the differences in the situations you have to deal with?
Yeah. Not all situation is the same, and so we have to be very careful and very mindful of the cultural aspect of that. We have to be culturally sensitive, and oftentimes, they don't leave the first time. It will, takes few times before they actually leave the situation. So what we do is just provide them information, their basic rights, and a safety plan to make sure that they'll be safe even though they're in the situation.
How about personally? Where are you from? Where were you born?
I was born in the Philippines, and I'm a Filipino, so I speak Tagalog, and I've been here for the last 35 years.
Did you move to the United States then, 35 years ago?
Yeah. I immigrated here in 1974.
Why did you come here?
I got married to an American citizen, so usually that's how we get here.
How would you compare your life here versus your life in the Philippines?
Well, we always say there's no place like home. So I think back then, my life back there in the Philippines is okay because I have a job and everything. And of course, when you come here as an immigrant, you have to go through a lot of cultural challenges, cultural barriers. So even though I grew up in Manila and I'm a city girl, when I come in here, it's been difficult for me because I have accent. I don't know how to take the bus because it's different. Everything is different, and then people look at you differently because of your accent. So.
How would you compare Seattle to Manila? I mean, what do you... Go ahead.
Different.
Yes? I guess how so? What's one example?
Well, Philippines is tropical, so it's hot, humid, and here is most of the time it's, cold, and I think rainy, because in the Philippines there's certain season, and it's not just rain, it's actually storm or, more worse than that. But, being here, I get used to the climate here.
How about your sense of community, or even the Filipino American community here in the Northwest? Are you able to still interact with a lot of Filipino people?
Oh yeah, I've been volunteering in the Filipino community, so I heavily involved in the Filipino community of Seattle. You know, I do a lot of volunteering there, and we do citizenship class there. So yeah, and in fact, Filipino community of Seattle is also heavily involved in the domestic violence. They really step up to make sure that our members, community members, are are aware and know how to provide services to the victim and make the abuser accountable.
I heard you say you have a citizenship class. That might be one of the most important things to help people gain citizenship. I guess talk a little bit about that process and how you're involved in it.
The Filipino community got contracted by the City of Seattle probably about 10 years ago. And the purpose of that is a lot of the immigrants, especially elderly, they cannot, because of the new immigration law, they have to be citizens to access to the benefits. So a lot of them that came in here, that 65 and older, and sometimes they get sick and they have to depend on their family here because the immigration said that 5 years before they can actually access to the benefits. So one thing that they really push is for them to become citizens after 5 years of living here. That way, they can get the benefits like a medical coupon, food stamp, or even like a SSI, which is money, so they can live in their own. Yeah.
That's really good that you helped them. You're a saint. I guess one last question, or two more questions, if you will. One, what I guess are some of your favorite cultural things that have come over to the United States, or what are some things that you miss from the Philippines?
I think the only thing that I miss is the weather, but because we have such a wonderful community here that we practice the culture that we have. So, and I've been here so long. So what I do, I just basically practice our value and tradition and the costume, and I try to instill it with my kids. So there's certain things that my kids know because as a Filipino. Food is always,
Okay, speaking of food, I guess what are your favorite foods or traditions with food, or what do you bring from the Philippines to here that is important for you and your family?
Well, one is rice, adobo, lumpia, pancit. So those are like sort of typical, like Filipino dishes. And I think as a Filipino and my kids, even though they're born here, that's what we eat every day. So.
Is there a chance, or have you already had a chance to take your kids to the Philippines, or to the Philippines to see where you're from and kind of their history and family back there?
Yeah, they've been there. My daughters, my oldest daughter, when she graduated in UW, and that's the gift I gave is to go to the Philippines for 10 days just to see it and also to meet her relatives in there. So she enjoyed it, and it's I think it's easier to see it than telling them, because every time I say you have to do this, you have to do that, and she keeps saying, Mom, we're not in the Philippines, we're in America. So I mean, when they get there, then they told me like, okay, now I know what you mean, Mom. So they appreciate the kind of life that we have, even though we're poor. Like we're happy, and it seems like like we're all together. So
excellent. Anything else you'd like to add or think about?
I think the only thing I can think of is that if there is anybody that need help, in their situation, domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking, please call us. We're there to help them and to make sure that they can get their services or support that they need, especially if they're bilingual or bicultural or limited non-English speaking. And we provide most of the language that we have. Yeah. And if we don't, then we'll find somebody. Yeah.
Good. Excellent. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much.